everyone, this is Heather Pickin, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about how to use gratitude to get anything that you want. Now, before we get into today's topic, if you could do me a solid, make sure that you subscribe to my channel because more people find out about that, and plus you'll be alerted to when you get these videos. You'll get an email and you'll be notified. And also make sure you drop a comment below if this subject is interesting to you or how you're using gratitude as a practice. I definitely want to know, or any other topics that you're interested in. And lastly, give this video a thumbs up if you like it. So today, let's talk about really the power of gratitude. So I started doing some research on gratitude, why it's so important. One of the studies they did was people that had a lot of mental issues. What they found is that, people that were recovering from any kind of traumatic experience, using the practice of gratitude helped them to, really become aware of their thought process, which is called metacognition. So metacognition is simply having this reflective awareness, becoming aware. And this is important because you cannot change anything that you're not aware of. We have been programmed to automatically go to the negative. It's just how most people are wired. And it's really hard to get out of that negative feedback loop. So if you look at, if we look at our subconscious mind is responsible for 95% of your beliefs, your habits, and behaviors. So if you're always focusing on the negative and you're never grateful, can you see how it's really hard to get yourself out of changing your thought patterns so that you can maybe take inspired action? When you get locked into that negative kind of thinking, it's really, really hard to think that there's a silver lining. So they took these people and they gave them different ways to write down gratitude, actually using journaling, mindfulness, part of their practice. And they found that their recovery rate went up, that, as a result, not just their mental health, but they found physically that their health went up. So if you have a high value on your focus, your mental health, your ability to really get yourself out of like low feelings, like that low point, and being able to get out of your own way, I highly recommend that you create a gratitude formula. Now, in a process that I've created called the Vision Method, which is a patent pending product. Actually, I'm in the process of filing for my patent, so I can't show you anything. One of the components is talking about this practice of mindfulness, being grateful. They've also done MRI scans on the brain to show how the brain actually starts growing and expanding as it relates to gratitude or any type of mindfulness practice. Now, when you're in gratitude, the opposite of gratitude, I call it ingratitude, where you're focusing on what's not working, what's not right. Now, there's a time and place to kind of think about, okay, what's not working and try to change it. But what I'm talking about here is looking at your life right now and not seeing any silver lining. So what that does when you're not focused on what you want, can you see how you're never going to find solutions to any problems? Can you see how that impacts your physiology? And anytime your physiology is impacted, I can pretty much trace it to a mental issue, a mindset issue that has been running you. It's running your psychology over and over again, over and over again. It becomes this feedback loop. So let's talk about some of the strategies that you can use in order to use gratitude to get what you want. So let's give a couple examples. I'm going to share some examples on what you can do. Let's talk about relationship. It's interesting. So I work with clients that are focused on their business, attracting more clients, building their business and their brand. But what I find that comes up is definitely the area of relationships. So let's just say you're someone that is looking to attract your perfect partner, and you are focusing on everything like, well, what's wrong with me? I'm too old, or I'm too fill in the blank. That to me is, not practicing gratitude. So I find a lot of times when people are quote unquote looking for someone or looking for the partner, they're not appreciating, they're not in gratitude or not being grateful for what they have right now in the moment. So how can that help you to get anything that you want? Well, when you have this self-love concept of appreciating what you have, loving you for who you are, feeling complete, right? No one completes you. I don't believe that. I believe someone adds to your life. So when you're feeling this self-love, you're practicing that, you're so grateful for maybe the friends that you have in your life or your family. What happens at a heart level is that you feel in alignment. You feel like nothing is missing. And when you feel that nothing is missing, what I find happens is you start becoming magnetic. You start attracting and aligning those people into your life. In this case, if it's a partner, that is a perfect match. I find when people don't practice gratitude, or they don't practice this self-love for themselves, they will attract a partner that is a mismatch until they learn the lesson. I know I've gone down that road of just not being grateful, especially when it comes to, just focusing on finding that right relationship. I'm definitely in a great relationship now. But if you're in that, place right now where you're just like, oh, nothing in my life is going right, and you want to attract that perfect partner, what I would recommend is to create a practice of gratitude that honestly focuses on your own worthiness. What are you grateful for right now about yourself? And doing that every single day. So here's what happens in your brain. When you start creating appreciation, you are creating new neural pathways in the brain. You're literally creating what's called neural plasticity, which is making these new connections and literally remodeling the brain, changing the way that you think. And when you change the way that you're starting to see things, that's when things start changing. You start attracting those people, let's just say in this form of a relationship. All of a sudden, that person will come into your radar, and then boom, you have that connection. So it's important to do that. So again, if you're wanting to practice gratitude as it pertains to a relationship, I would write those things down with the act of self-love. Now, what if you're in a relationship with someone that is a pretty good relationship, but they just get on your nerves? And let's just face it, that is the natural evolution of a relationship. As you get comfortable with someone, they're never going to be perfect. I know it's a shocker. I don't promote that fantasy kind of thinking. And so let's just say you have a disagreement with your partner. It's important to practice gratitude in order to change that situation. What I find all too often is that when couples get into heated arguments, and if you don't have that reflective awareness, if you don't have that mindfulness practice, what happens is you become self-righteous and you pump yourself up. And so you can never dissolve the issues. If you have that reflective awareness and you can create more of a gratitude practice of what am I grateful for, with my partner right now, even though I might be a little pissed off, what are a couple things that I can just focus on and totally be grateful? Now, it may be, you might find this exercise to be challenging, but when I've worked with clients, what I find happens is when they start transforming their perception of how they see their partner, everything else around them changes. So I talked about earlier about being in gratitude. The opposite of gratitude is being in grateful, right? Or just think about the opposite of gratitude. Whatever language that you want to phrase it, if you're thinking the opposite of being grateful, then look to see what happens as a result. Okay, always follow the breadcrumb trail to see, okay, why do I keep attracting these patterns and behaviors? Oh, because I'm not appreciating, I'm not being grateful. And this is only if you're really in a healthy relationship, so that you can transform that. I was working with a client the other day, and she was going through this exact same thing. She was, not feeling grateful, not appreciating her relationship. She had no red flags with her current relationship. So I realized she was not practicing this. So she wrote down a couple of things that she was grateful for in that relationship and also with herself. So we kind of went into self-love and appreciating her partner. And so what you found is that she, those issues and most of these issues that you're picking apart your partner, they're really petty. They're really petty. She was able to transform how she was seeing those things. So she had that deeper appreciation. As a result of that, what happened is that her partner changed. A lot of times what happens is we want to change that other person. We're not really like owning our own stuff. And so we're creating this constant feedback loop. It's so easy to point the finger on fingers at people, right? Instead of just kind of going within. So using that practice of gratitude to get what you want in your relationship or to find that perfect partner. Again, it starts with self-love and also appreciating your partner. So let's talk also about building your business or finding, finding your path, your spiritual path, however you want to language that, or your life purpose. And you're kind of like confused, like, oh, what should I do? I really don't know. And what happens, again, it creates this feedback loop, it beating yourself up. So my question to you is, how are you going to find your life purpose if you don't appreciate where you're at right now in your life? And I know that sounds so simple, but what happens is that your brain will not be able to find those ideas, find your life purpose if you're closed off. So in your brain, in what's called the executive center, when you are opened up, when you can totally be in gratitude and receive, I should say you are receiving, you're like a transmission of receiving those new ideas. So one of the things that you could do is writing down what you're grateful for in relationship to things that you like right now. So what is most important to you right now that you totally appreciate? Is it your spiritual practice? Is it, whatever, fill in the blank. Why does that help you to get on purpose or find your purpose? This whole part of having a gratitude process will help you to connect with being on purpose instead of focusing on what you don't want. So if you're creating that gratitude list, what happens is it activates that executive center in your brain. The more that you keep doing that, the more it creates neuroplasticity and the more that you will be in alignment to your purpose. So what happens is your brain will be like this filtering device, this GPS system that finds the inspired ideas to get on purpose. So every single day, over and over again, create a list. It could be the same list. It could be different things, but things that you appreciate about your life as it is right now that you absolutely love doing, like you're absolutely obsessed about doing, will help you to get on purpose. Now, let's also talk about gratitude as it relates to attracting money. So getting anything you want. Most people, they're stressing out about money. And so what do? They do the opposite. They look at what they don't want. Oh my gosh, money, no money in my bank account or less money in my bank account, or, these kinds of clients, they're such a pain to work with. Whatever that is, what you want to do is to appreciate what you have right now as it relates to money. And it could be the simplest things, okay? Simplicity is really key when it comes to gratitude. So look at the clients that you have right now, start appreciating them, write down their names. What do you specifically appreciate about them? Why is this important? When you get into appreciation, either present or past clients, what I have found when I've had my clients do this is they start aligning with new ideas to market to those ideal clients, or they will have clients contact them that feels like literally out of the blue. So I've had like all these crazy things happen with my clients because they're just into this gratitude practice. So when you're expanding your mind through the practice of being grateful for what you have, even in the simplest form, you start aligning with that. Even Oprah Winfrey said, it's just like, yeah, the more that you're grateful for something, the more that you can be in that place of receiving. And I truly believe that. I truly believe any form in your life that you perceive is missing, that is a void, how you can transform that is to appreciate through a practice of gratitude for what you have right now. I don't care what form it is, in order to transform that. I go into this deeper into my vision method about showing people how to create this mindfulness practice, but just make it real simple. Write down a couple things. What do you perceive as missing? And make sure that you write that list until it starts syncing and linking in your brain, and that you start seeing the measurable changes. You can actually do this in your career. So if you have a job where you're definitely not grateful, you're feeling like, oh, this just feels so heavy. I can guarantee you, if you're not grateful for your work, you'll probably get fired from that job. You'll probably attract a lot of chaos and stress into your life. A lot of people feel stressed out. So being able to have gratitude for, okay, what does that job represent? It's giving you income. It's giving you a certain type of freedom. It's also giving you the ability to say, okay, where do I need to change my thinking? If I change my thinking about this job that I'm at, what happens is you're going to be more focused. When you're more focused, you become more valuable at the company, or maybe you just want to change directions. But how are you going to change directions and put yourself out there if you're not grateful? So I hope you find this helpful today. I hope you start writing these practices down. Just go to where you feel is missing, what the void is, transform that, find the form that you feel most grateful now that you have, and start to see what happens as a result. Do this on a consistent basis. In my vision method, I go through a process on how to measure your mindfulness practice. I do have a gratitude component that shows people how to start changing that so that their brain starts changing. And if you want to get on the wait list when my product becomes available, the Vision Method Journal, make sure that you go to heatherpicken.com, or actually send me an email, heather@heatherpicken.com. We'll put you on the wait list, and we'll let you know when it's available. And so again, make sure that you do this practice. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe and comment below. Until next time, this is Heather Picken, and live fearlessly.